Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so I want to thank two people first. I want to thank Sonia, and I want to Sonia Sharp, and I want to thank Lee Tiffany. Lee, you had sent a donation. I very, very much appreciate that. And with Sonia, we had actually done a really good long session about 2 days ago, around I think October 17th or 16th. And something came from the session that I did with Sonia, and that's what this video is going to be about. So it's a video I've done before, but it's been a while, and I think it's really important, so it's not going to be exactly like the other video, but hopefully I can say it in a shorter way, in a more direct way. Okay, so this video is about everything that everything is about. It's not just Jesus though, but it is the core. If there was one teaching of the Bible, if the Bible, every verse from Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 all the way to the last verse, the last chapter in the book of Revelation, if you added them together, like, oh, so this is what God was trying to show us. Yes, this is what it's all about. This is what Buddhism is all about. This is what the universal teachings are all about. This is what spirituality is about. This is what it literally comes down to this one thing. See, here's the deal. There's a lot of words and terms that were used that no one actually broke down and explained what they were to you. And that's why it's such a mystery. It really is not a mystery when you're like, oh, is that what that means? It's like, yeah, and then you're like, oh, like so all of a sudden everything becomes simple. Honestly, even the movie The Wizard of Oz is trying to teach you this one thing. And so is narcissism, believe it or not, but there's a really big lesson from being abused by narcissists, and once you get it, you pop right out of it. Now, the reason why I know is because it's something I've been specializing in. Now, here's the deal. Someone didn't come to me and tell you what I just told you and said, hey, man, I'm going to teach you this technique because we're going to do something. And here's the reason why. No, it was like someone said meditate. So I meditated. I meditated every day. Someone didn't tell me to. I just kind of one day, I had anxiety. Like, I've got to find a way to get rid of this stuff. And I just was going down this path, doing it without even knowing at first, because as I moved along, see, when you do something physically and have a physical experience, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's what Jesus is saying. Like, there's a phrase that Jesus says, and it's what this video is about, is look within. And that technique, and it is a technique, but I bet a lot of you read that and glossed over that, and it didn't even ring a bell. You just, oh, look within, whatever, and you went right past it. Because nobody said that's the secret to the Holy Grail. The word the Holy Grail is a symbolic word that no one said, well, this is what it is. Because they probably never how did I say that? They probably never opened up to it, and therefore they don't know what it is. Even that word know has a completely different meaning when you open up to the Holy Grail. All of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, I thought it meant this thing over here. The word know, to know, means this over here. So, how do I... It's a funny thing, it's a really simple thing, but you really have to open up to it to experience it and to know it. This is one of the most beautiful nights ever. This is quite amazing. Everything is beautiful. The moon, I know my phone doesn't get the moon very well, but it is just amazing. And when you do open up to it, everything becomes beautiful. And for the people who have not opened up to it, they're very religious because they're listening from that part of their brain And that part of the brain processes in rule, structure, and organization, which is what religion's all about. There's lots of rules. It's very structured, and it literally is an organization. So when you read the teachings of Jesus through the left logical processor, you hear rules. You hear right or wrong, because the left brain is the either or, right or wrong judgmental brain. It processes everything through the either or filter. So everything gets divided. It's either A or it's B, and there's nothing in between. There's no other possibility. See, the left brain is literally about singularity. It's about focusing on one thing. That's why it's really good to be in your left brain to aim at a target, because you're focused on one little tiny dot and on the animal or on the target. Therefore, you can aim very good. The problem is when it comes to social life, social behaviors, getting along, it sucks. It's not a good brain to use for relationships, society, social situations, because the right brain is literally the relationship brain and the social brain. So, what brain do you think Jesus was in? Technically, when you open up to this brain, you're open to all of them. They're all functioning in unison as one, which is atonement. At one, to atone at one. So the Holy Grail is not some external. Sometimes it's shown as like a genie lamp. It is. Some people depict it as like a little, like those little lamps, you know, that where you can pour like tea out of or whatever. And that's the same thing like a genie. It's not. Here's the deal. Everything. How to explain this? Everything is the same on every level, all the way down from the atoms to the electrons, to even when you go all the way down to the particles. Everything is the same thing at each level as you go up, whether it's the first dimension, second dimension, third dimension, fourth, fifth. See, the challenge with a lot of people, if they're stuck in the second or third dimension, they're like, well, this is what it is. So, well, no, that's what it is on the third dimension. But on the spiritual level, it's the same thing, but it's this on this level. I'll have to explain that another time, so let's just cut right to the chase. So the right brain is essentially the Holy Grail. It's where you sup with God, meaning where you be with God, where you experience God. So there's something you hear in the Bible. It's essentially all things are done through God, or all things are done through Christ. Okay, so I just pulled it up in Google. So essentially, there's a couple of phrases like all things are done through him. So Philippians 4:13, it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so that was, let's see what Bible was. I think that was the Geneva Bible. Bible Gateway Passage doesn't say what, I don't know. So the point being is different Bibles say, say through him, like, or through God. Now, if you read, there's other passages that are very similar, almost same thing. Now, if you read this through the left brain, you're going to be like, oh, so God outside of me through him out there or up there somewhere outside of my body externally, because the left brain is the external processor. So if you read it through the left brain, or if someone goes, no. See, a lot of women, what you do, you actually do it the correct way. You're reading the Bible through the right brain, because women tend to be very right brain. But at a very young age, you were punished like, no, that's not what it means. It means the opposite. And because the churches, even pretty much to this day, are very left brain, and I want to say the word male dominated. And so because men process through the logical left brain, the external outside processor, that's what they think it means. But boy, are they wrong. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to ask you a question, and if you're not honest with yourself, well, then it's not going to work for you, and that's your fault. And the minute I ask it, you got to do it instantly. So I'm going to ask you to point, okay? So lift up your hand, put out your pointer finger, and I'm going to ask you a question. The minute I ask it, point. Ready? Here we go. Where's God? Point right now. Just point. Here's another thing I want you to do. You can either stop this and get a pen and paper, or you can do it with your finger. Okay? I'm going to ask you to draw something. Again, you can do it with your finger. It's so simple, like you can just do it in the air. Ready? And it has to be instant. And if you even pause, because I've actually had clients go, nope, doesn't count because you're thinking. Will not count. If I ask a question, you got to do it instantly. If you don't do it instantly, you're going to get a false. Ready? I want you to draw a spiral. Ready? Go. Draw. You should already be done, so go ahead and stop. Now notice where you started the circle or the spiral, and notice where you ended. So let's go back to the first one. I've been doing this test for over a quarter of a century. For over a quarter of a century, 100% of the women, the minute I said, "Where is God?" they pointed to internal. Whenever I asked this question to men, 100% of the men instantly pointed outside or up. So that's outside of their body, that's external. The female brain, the right brain, is the internal brain, which means its awareness goes inside your body. It tunes into your body. It's an inward internal processor, so it thinks internally. So the minute I say, "Where's God?" women point inside. And here's another interesting thing that I noticed. I would say 70+% of women, especially if they're from Christian nations, will be like, "Oh, no, I meant to point outwards," because they were punished at a very young age many times. No, God's out there. God's up there. God's not inside you. Who do you think you are? I remember as a kid, young girls getting corrected about where God is. And I was like, wow, So as I look back, I thought, man, that's pretty messed up, because it turns out women are right. And again, the left brain is the external brain, so men automatically point out. Now, with the spiral, women always draw an internal spiral. They start on the outside and they draw smaller and smaller and smaller till they get to the very center. Men always start in a point and they draw the spiral, expanding and going outwards. Because the male brain processes everything through the external processor, going outside of his body. See, this is why men value gold and money and cars, and they think, well, if I give her enough money, if I spend enough money on dinner, she's going to have sex with me, because this is what attracts women. No, it doesn't. She's attracted to the money for security, but not for love. If you use money to get a woman to marry you, she didn't marry you. She married your money. And if she falls in love with someone for who they are, she's going to leave you for him. Now listen to what I just said. Every woman understood the phrase I'm about to repeat again, and every man, it went right past you. It went right past you. Marry him for who he is, for who you are. You are not external. The real you is internal. See, the problem is she can't marry you because you never showed up. What showed up was a car, a diamond ring, money, all these external expressions. Now to a man, this is deeply expressing his love, but not to a woman. Not only that, but she can't connect with you on the inside because you are not inside. You are stuck in your forehead going out. Now imagine inverting or reversing that, and then taking that thing in your forehead and dropping it down into your belly and your gut and your heart area and expanding it. See, women don't just draw an internal spiral, they draw an internal expanding spiral. So now, what am I talking about? Where am I going with this? Remember how I said that Jesus says, look within? That's you. That's your heart. That's your soul. And that is how you connect with God. You cannot connect with God externally. You have to go within. And yes, I do teach very specific steps on how to physically and neurologically do this with your awareness. Again, this is the internal awareness and emotionally grounding course that I keep talking about. So I worked with a client this, I think it was 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, and a subject came up. And she very much missed somebody and wanted someone in their life. And without realizing it, she was pushing this person away. And she kept talking about all these external things and can we do this, can we do that? And I've tried this and I've tried that. I'm like, well, yeah, you're doing it in reverse. And she's like, what do you mean? I go, all right, so you've been trying all these strategies. She's like, uh-huh. I go, how well have they worked for you? She goes, what do you mean? I go, what was your goal? She's like, well, I want this person back in my life. I really love them. I really care about them, etc., etc. It was a family member. And I said, well, how well does it work? She's like, well, she's completely closed off. She won't talk to me anymore. And I said, it's because you're doing it the wrong way. And I brought up a couple of the verses where it says, all things are done through me. All things are done through Christ. All things are done through God. And I said, why aren't you doing that? She's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, you're not doing it through God. She's like, well, no, I pray every day to God. Now, even the languaging to God out there, to like from A to B, that's left brain thinking. That's external languaging. That's left brain, literally that's left brain language. It's like a rocket ship is going to take off from the planet Earth and it's going to go to Mars or to the moon. That's a line going from point A to point B. The left brain is the linear processor. It means linear means line, L-I-N-E, line, A-R, linear. Now here's the deal. That means you're not going through, listen closely to the languaging, through Christ, through God. I'm going to very specifically teach you what that exactly means and why self-love is the key to all of this. It literally is the literal key to opening the door. It's the very exact same reason why narcissists try to turn you against you, to have self-hate, self-shame, to judge yourself harshly and all that negative stuff. And you were brainwashed many times from a young age at the grocery store, at school, at church, with your friends, over at your friend's house. It wasn't just your family or that one boyfriend or that one girlfriend or that one husband. I am telling you, this has been done your whole life. They don't want you, now listen closely to what I'm saying, because you're going to miss it. They don't want you to love your self. Ladies, now where is God? Yep, that's right, inside your body, inside you. Jesus, where is God? For the Lord God Almighty resides within the temple. Wait a minute, what language did he just speak? Within? Well, that's a right brain internal word. Well, that wasn't an external male word. That was internal. There's a left brain language and there's a right brain language. I know. I've been teaching it for 30 years. Wait a minute, Jesus, where's God again? The Lord resides within the temple. But Jesus, what's the temple? The body is the temple of the Lord. The body? You mean my body? Well, how do I look for him? Look within. Look at the image right now. Where is that? That's the heart. That's the chest area. Well, Jesus, look within. That's another internal language. Inside, within. See, the internal language uses words that talk about going inside, within, to enter. Number one, Jesus absolutely spoke the internal language. You want to know what's funny? Everything I'm teaching you right now, 100% of it comes from my course, Crack the Female Code. This is what I teach men when it comes to understanding women and the internal world, including the internal language. My course is so beautiful. It teaches men how to understand you from your perspective, from the right brain way. It teaches them how to speak your language. It's the hidden language to the male brain, but he can learn how to do it. It teaches men how to love you, how to actually understand you from the right brain, not dissociated, disconnected, logically analyzing you like you're like a science project. And that's how men process everything. They think everything is like a fix-it project or like a science project, and it makes women feel like a medical test study. It teaches men how to be compassionate. It teaches men how to understand you and romance you and even turn you on in the right brain way. In the female way, not the disconnected, dissociated, paying for dinner, paying for things, okay, you're ready to have sex. Men don't realize it, but it's such a disconnected thing that men are doing. They don't even know what they're doing, but they don't know that they don't know. The course that I teach between men and women is 100 times more important than everything I've taught you in the last 4 years. This will bring peace to the planet. Now, I'm going to give you another symbol that was thrown at you that was never told to you. So I'm going to do it this way. There's one specific physically 3D thing that we're going to do inside our brain. So when Jesus says to look within, there's a series of techniques that you can learn how to do and to practice and get better and better and better at to bring your awareness inside and then expand. Remember, the female way isn't just going inside. It's the internal spiral, but it's the internal expanding spiral, like when she gets pregnant. The baby goes inside and grows and expands and expands. So here's the deal. When you look within, and I'm using that as kind of as a vague term because there's a series of techniques to learn how to do that I teach in my course or in one-on-one coaching, is it does a couple of very interesting things. The number one thing, and this is what it's all about. Have you guys ever heard of the eye of the needle? Well, there's an artery in the lower reptilian brain. And this artery controls the blood flow to the larger human brain, or it restricts it and lessens the blood flow into the brain. See, when you're in fight or flight in a panic mode, if you're scared, you're nervous, you're afraid, that artery gets narrow. Why? Because your lower reptilian brain has two number one missions. Number one, to keep you alive no matter what. Number two, to reproduce. That's it. That's its job. So when you're getting chased by lions, tigers, and bears, or hunted down, or whatever, it gets scared, it lowers the artery, it narrows it, so it keeps the majority of blood down in your body instead of in your skull. Which number one means you're not really thinking on a higher level. You're not very aware. Your awareness goes down and gets very narrow, which is kind of dangerous. But it takes the blood from the skull and the blood from your intestines and it shoves it into your muscles and it makes you stronger. This is for fight and flight. So you're strong to fight or strong to run fast to get away. The problem with this is if you're in this panic mode all the time, which is what narcissists do to you on purpose, by the way, you lose connection to your higher intelligence. You lose connection to your intuition. You lose connection to God. So when this artery is narrow, this is the doorway, the eye of the needle. Now symbolically, in the external physical world outside of your outside of your physical body, there's a narrow passageway through the wall in this city of, I think it's the city of, let me see if I can find it, hold on. It's the city of Jericho. It's this very narrow passageway. I think it's like 12 feet tall or whatever. And it's very hard for camels to get through it when they're carrying items on their back, packages and clothes and gold and whatever. And let me read something, because I just read it and like, yeah, that's not what it really means. But Jesus uses it symbolically. All right, let me go back over there and read it real quick. The eye of the needle is a narrow gateway into Jerusalem. It's just more of a tunnel. It's not really a gateway, but it's a passageway of Jerusalem that Jesus used as an analogy to describe the difficulty of a rich person entering heaven. Again, it does say analogy, which means it's symbolic. It's not talking about a rich person. But I guarantee all of you look, oh yeah, rich people can't get to heaven. That is not what it's talking about. See, a rich person back then, you gotta understand, it's not like today where you have like semi-trucks and trains and planes and, all that stuff. We can transport stuff. Back then, and not only that, but now we don't have walls around our city, but back then you had to defend yourself from invaders. So you would have these narrow passageways, so if you did get invaded, you could easily block them so invaders couldn't come in. You couldn't have these wide open city streets all around the city where anyone could come in. So symbolically used. Now everyone took it literal. The left brain is the literal brain. The right brain is the symbolic brain. See, if you read the Bible through your right brain, also, wait a minute, Jesus makes a lot. It's literally a coded language, but the right brain does it. It completely makes sense and everything adds up. All you're like, wait a minute, this is simple. How did we not understand this before? Well, we were reading it through our left brain, which changed it to be direct, which changed it to be non-symbolic. See, the left brain is the direct brain. You say A and you mean A. If you're talking about gold, that's all you're talking about. The right brain, it says A, but it means something else different, B. And this is where men get really frustrated with women. When a woman says A but means something else, nothing flusters and angers a man more, because his brain doesn't do that. And men don't use their right brain. They don't even know how to open up to it. It is a challenge. But again, I teach it in my course for men. For those of you who have been following me for more than a year, you're starting to get the pieces of why I understand narcissist abuse so much, because narcissists cannot open up to the right brain at all. The average man, to some degree, can. So the pieces that I'm unfolding here are, it's like, wow, oh, I see what's going on. Narcissists are complete and total external beings. The average man crosses over unconsciously to the right brain to some degree, but narcissists not. They're so far to the left, they have no connection to the right brain. Now, that artery that I had mentioned is a very important piece, because this is the eye of the needle. You have to open up that artery. So when it's closed, look at someone's pupils when the artery's closed. They're tiny, like you could barely fit an eye through the pupil. The eye of the needle. It's like the pupil's so small, it's as small as a needle. So the eye of the needle represents that artery. When the artery opens up, it opens you up to the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is not outside you. That's why they can't find it. Even if there is some physical thing, it's symbolic of what's inside you. When you open up that artery, it allows the blood to rush into your larger human brain and opens you up especially to your right brain, which is the open door to God. The left brain is the closed in the box thinking brain. The right brain is the emotional, creative, spiritual brain. It's also the relationship brain. It's the social brain. It's the brain you're supposed to be in when you're socializing, when you're with your wife or your girlfriend. See, everything I've taught you in this video comes from my course, Cracked Female Code. It's also the secret to opening up to God. There's a phrase that used to go around in the 70s and 80s. And it was something like, I cannot remember it. God, I wish I could remember it. Something like, if you can understand a woman, you can understand God. Or if you can learn how to open up to a woman, then you can open up to God. It's something like that. It's something, see, because, okay, the way that God made women was, in order for a man to truly learn how to love a woman, understand a woman, he has to open up to this internal way of being. And this internal way of being guides you to God. It's again, everything is symbolic. Well, if you can learn how to do this and learn how to love a woman, you're going to learn how to love God. You're going to learn how to connect to God. Have you guys ever heard that like meme or that phrase that said, it's something like God basically was like, where do I hide their power so they'll never find it until they're ready for it? And whoever he was talking to said, inside. They'll never look for it inside of them. Now here's the sad part. I bet there's a lot of you listening to me right now, and you think I'm just talking cute stories and metaphors. No, I am being literal. They're not a power, the power that you've always been looking for, to make more money, to meet the girl of your dreams, to enjoy life, to do what you want, to create, to manifest. It's inside you. It always has been. Look within. So I'm working with this client who's doing all these external strategies and it's not working. It's literally pushing her away, because the left brain is the push energy. The male energy is the external linear push energy. So men generally tend to push women away, or push away what they want. But it's not just men. The modern woman does it a lot too. I should say when you're in your male brain. So I said, it's through God. It's through Christ. She goes, well, I'm doing that. I pray every day. I'm like, no, you're praying externally. You're not praying internally. See, to do it through God, you have to go inside your body. And this is why self-love is absolutely 100% the most important thing you could ever do on the planet. Narcissists have been teaching you to criticize yourself, to attack yourself, to blame yourself, to hurt yourself, to speak ill of yourself. Now, remember earlier in this video I said pay close attention, because it's about loving your self, and that self is God. Where does the Lord reside? Oh, in the temple. Wait, what is the body? The body is the temple of the Lord? So if you're going to go around treating God like shit, criticizing God, cutting God down, telling God that he's no good, he's not worthy, he's going to kind of disconnect and be like, yo, bro, this vibe ain't cool. I'm out of here. And that's why a lot of you are like, I don't understand. Why don't my prayers get answered? Because you're hurting God. What did Jesus say? Look within. The body is the temple of the Lord. Self-love is the number one key. And I'm telling you right now, demons, Satan, narcissists, this is their worst fear, is that you figure this out. You have to understand it's like this. Inside you is this very sensitive being. This is yourself. So when I say in yourself or love yourself, be good to yourself, I'm talking about the other being, the other part of you. Your right brain is the sensitive brain. The left brain's closed off and dissociated like a narcissist. But the power does not exist in the left box. That it's the left brain is in the box thinking. That's completely disconnected from your power. That's why a lot of times when you deal with a narcissist and they hurt you, you literally feel dissociated, you feel disconnected. And it means you're disconnected from your power. Your power has always been inside you and always will be. The way you access it is, number one, you have to begin to love yourself. Curl up in bed, hold yourself. When you have hurt in your heart, anxiety in your belly, worry in your forehead, these are different parts of you. curl up and just be with it. Don't say, oh, be happy, don't be sad. No, because now you're cutting off the healing process. Number one, you want to bring your awareness inside your body now listen closely, in an open, expanded way. So let's say you have a pain in your solar plexus, anxiety or fear. It's the size of a softball, let's say. It's really tight. So I don't want you to make it happy. I don't want you to change it. I want you to just be with it. It's a little child, and I mean it is an infant. It's like 7, 8, 9 months old, 10 months old. It is sensitive. It is scared. It needs you to comfort it. But what do? You try to get a boyfriend, a girlfriend. Well, I'll get them to love me. What you mean is get them to love the self that you won't love. How do you think that makes that child feel? This is your child. This is your baby. And you're saying, yeah, I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to drink some alcohol. I'm going to smoke some cigarettes. I'm going to just go fast. I'm going to be a workaholic. I'm going to have sex all the time. I'm going to be on the internet. I'm just going to completely disconnect from that. And I'm going to find someone else that will make it feel better so I can feel better. You literally took your child and said, I'm not going to pay attention to you. I'm not going to love you. I'm not going to be there with you. I don't want to hear the crying. I'm going to, oh, hey, you over there. Hey, can you love this little child of mine that I made, years ago while I can just enjoy my life? How do you think that makes that child feel? It hurts it badly. And after a period of time, it realizes it's like you're its monster. It's afraid of you. It doesn't want to be hurt by you. It doesn't want to be shoved away anymore. This inner being, what I'm calling a child, is directly connected to God. Period. End of sentence. It is through, what did I say? Through this child, through this being, look within. The body is the temple of the Lord. The Lord resides within the body. Wait a minute, didn't it say somewhere in the body all things are possible through, there's that word again, through Christ, through God? Now here's the funny thing, the interesting thing. Yes, this child is sensitive, but this child has the keys to the power. Now here's the deal. When you start spending time with yourself, putting time aside for just you and these hurt feelings inside, or just spending time alone in bed, you curl up, you drop your awareness down. You don't tell it to change. Do not do that. Don't say, be happy, don't be crappy. No. You just have an open, expanded awareness of it and allow it to cry. Allow it to feel shame. In fact, I want you to fully feel the shame and allow it to expand to your entire body. Because you will know, see, the key is to completely let go. Don't lock down, because you're like, oh, I don't like that feeling. I don't like to feel guilty or shameful. I don't like fear. But when you lock down, you increase the energy into it. You want the energy to expand and disperse. You want to let it go. You want to, and by doing that, or the way you do that is by allowing it to fully feel itself. This is how you heal. You heal by going through the fire, by becoming the fire. So here's the deal. It is a process, and it is going to take time for these parts of you to begin to trust you again. Do not think that what do they call an absent landlord is gone for years, because you've been gone for years to decades, and all of a sudden you come into the, and this is like you walk out the back door, there's a porch there, and these little parts of you, they're out in the lawn, they're out in the backyard. Like imagine there's like a fence that goes all the way out and then across and then back, and they're inside this area, and you're like, hey man, come here, I want to give you a hug now. They're gonna be like, yeah, sorry bro, I'm not going to open up to you. I don't trust you. You've abandoned us for quite a long time, and I'm not just going to suddenly go, oh, you're back again, like a narcissist would. That child's pretty smart. A narcissist's like, oh, just trust me, I'm back. I don't think so. Because you've done this in the past. You come back for a moment, and you're like, oh, fuck this. I don't want to feel this pain. I'm gone. Bye. You're on your own, 6-month-old child. See, this is how old these parts that broke off, that splintered off. when you got hurt, when you got scared, when you felt guilt and shame, you're just like, yeah, you disconnected from it back then. And you left it all alone. Here's the really cool part about this whole thing. Remember, the narcissist really reinforced and helped you to disconnect from yourself more and more by criticizing yourself over and over and over and just being in this pattern. And that's another thing. This child's looking at you like, really, dude? Like suddenly, oh, you're all lovey and cuddly today? You have judged me. You have criticized me. You have yelled at me. You have talked shit about me. You've told me I'm a piece of shit. You've told me I'm no good. You've told me I'm stupid. Do you understand that by saying, oh, I'm such an idiot, oh, I'm so stupid, you're saying this to your inner self? I'm sorry, what's that, Jesus? The Lord resides within me? The body, the temple of the Lord? Oops. So here's what self-love is. Number one, self-love is self-respect. Well, what is self-respect? Self-love and self-respect means self-protection. If somebody's being mean to you, gaslighting you, being rude, talking shit, making fun of you in front of their friends, you leave. You never talk to that person again, ever. Here's the really weird thing. That self inside you, that little infant child, it was like, he just protected me emotionally. Or he or she, depending on if you're a man or woman listening. That little child literally is like, well, wait a minute. Got me out of that bad situation where people are trying to hurt me. Haven't you noticed that most attacks are verbal? Like, fighting is very rare. Because fighting puts you in that... See, fighting puts you in that shield where you're protecting your inner self. That's why a lot of people don't resort to that. Because, narcissists can't really hurt the real you inside if you're putting up your shield. They want to hurt you emotionally. Because if they can hurt the warrior within emotionally, that's what's going to make you weak. Now, when I was a little kid in kindergarten, first grade, preschool, I used to walk across the street to the girls. There's two girls my age, and we would go to school together. And the grandmother was always at the door. They had like this big gate. They had like a courtyard and, whatever. So they'd open it up. And the grandma was like, be careful who you hang out with because they'll rub off on you. So grandma's words were wise. As a child, like, what do you mean they're going to rub off on me? What the hell does that mean? One of the things she said, because somebody was being mean to me, I remember her daughter said it to me first, and then she said it to me one day in the morning before we went to school. And she's like, hey, if people are mean to you, walk away from them. Don't talk to them. Don't be with them. I'm like, but I want them to be my friend. And the problem with that is you just open the door for them to continually hurt you. Now, here's the really weird, diabolical thing that they knew. And I remember in high school girls was like, Michael, get away from that person. Walk away. I'm like, yeah, but they're being mean. They don't like me, and I want to make them like me because I felt bad because someone didn't like me. But it only gets worse. It never gets better. It always makes your self-esteem go lower and lower and lower. The minute someone is rude, disrespectful of you, you just cut them off. Even if you got to work with them, just put up a cold front. Just like, no, I'm never going to be nice to you. I'm never going to smile. I'm not going to open up to you. Blah, blah. Just don't. Now, here's the really weird thing. There was a lesson that I didn't learn until I got much, much older. And I remember in high school looking at some of these girls, they were so confident with themselves, like, I don't understand how they can be like that. As most of you on this channel, you got pushed so far, so hard. You got pushed way beyond your limits. And you just said, I'm done. I'm going to cuss. Fuck this. I cannot do this anymore. I'm so sick and tired of being nice to people. All they do is hurt me. And for the first time in your life, you chose you. You walked away. You blocked. You were like, I'm done. Never again. And that's exactly what I did. And the weirdest thing in the world, I started to feel good about myself. Before I ever did this, I thought, oh, I'm going to feel so horrible. I can't do that to someone. And all those people, see, you understand, those kind of people, that's all they do is go around hurting people. They think it's funny, or that's the only way they know how to respond to people or interact or whatever. They never change, but you can change. So when I walked away and blocked, the last thing in the world happened to me. And the last thing that I ever would have thought about happened. That's what I meant to say. Something inside kind of tickled in my heart. It felt really good. It was like a little baby giggling and laughing. And I was like, okay, that wasn't expected. Like, and here's the weird thing. I felt good. And here's the cool thing. I felt good inside. And I wasn't doing it. Literally, it was like something in my heart was tickling, kind of like pushing out. Probably like when a woman's pregnant and the baby starts to push on your belly. It was like that, but it was like little fingers kind of tickling the inside of my heart or the inside of my chest. And it genuinely felt good. And I was smiling. I'm like, what am I so? And I was like, why am I so happy? Like, what is this? I protected my inner child. And it felt good. It was like, thank you. It was happy. Oh, you're protecting me. Oh, now I can relax. But some of you still want to appease the narcissist. All they're going to do is hurt you. Stop it. Start protecting yourself. See, when people say you need to love yourself or do self-love, that doesn't tell you what to do. It really means to self-protect. So then I had another, and I'm going to change the word because this is kind of what it's like. It's like, then I got another opportunity. Somebody attacked me, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I hung up the phone. And I was like, okay, this is getting really weird. Why do I feel good now? I thought I'd feel bad, but something inside started feeling good. And then I did it again and again. And then it was at the grocery store. Somebody was being a dick, and I just walked away like, whatever, man. And I was like, what is going on with me? All of a sudden, my self-esteem started going up and up and up and up. Wait a minute. This is how you get self-esteem. Self-respect is self-esteem. Self-love is self-protection. Self-respect is self-protection. So when Jesus said turn the other cheek, he literally meant, and I mean this, if you go back and study the whole languaging, the words back in that language, it literally meant to turn and walk away. Don't explain yourself. Don't try to make them like you. That's what you've got to stop doing. See, a lot of men come to me and the first thing they'll say is like, well, how do I make her like me? I'm like, no. See, that's the external way. And not only that, but it really irritates women. They don't like you to control them or make them. And the first thing I said, whoa, bro, the slave master days are over. We don't make anyone anything. Well, yeah, but how do I get them to like me? I go, okay, there's an answer to that. Look within. Like, what do you mean? I go like, look. See, you're trying to get her to like you. You're doing it backwards. You're literally doing it in reverse. That's disconnected, that's dissociated. You're going outside of your body, you're trying to physically grab someone or manipulate. See, the left brain is about controlling, it's manipulative. If I pay for $300 for dinner, she's definitely going to have sex with me. That's manipulative, bro, and nobody likes that. And that, my friends, is why narcissists are the way they are. They try to guilt trip you. They'll do something nice for you to get you to do something in return. That's narcissistic. Now here's the deal. A lot of guys will look at me like, then there's no way I'm ever going to meet a woman. I'm never going to get married. Because that's the only strategy they know, because they're stuck in their left brain. So I told them, the way you get someone to like you is to like yourself. See, here's what I tell everyone, you guys, everyone. You need to fall in love with yourself. See, if you are not in love with you, I'm gonna cuss. How in the fuck do you expect someone else to fall in love with you if you're not in love with you? That makes zero sense. If you don't like you, why would they? If you don't speak well of yourself to yourself, then why would they? People 100% reflect on you the way that you reflect on you. If you're mean to you, they're mean to you. If you speak bad about yourself, they speak bad about you. Do you get it? And if someone does speak bad on you out of jealousy, as narcissists do, walk and block. Be done with them. No more. Don't even tell them why. Just block them and don't say no. Don't talk to me. I don't have to explain. I'm not going to. Don't talk to me. Bye. See, you protect yourself because someone who loves themselves doesn't allow this behavior. Period. People literally reflect you back to you. And I'm gonna prove it. Again, it comes from my course and comes from dating. So I learned something when I was going to clubs and places like that, lounges, etc. The left brain is the external brain, so you're looking around the room. And I remember I'd go to one club, to another, and I finally learned, like, dude, why? Like, you're not even sitting down. How are you going to meet anybody? So after months and months of trying to figure this out, I just went to a club and I just sat down. I just literally just sat down. It was like a big couch built into the wall, or onto the wall, all the way across. I just sat there. And I began to notice something. I would notice 2 or 3 girls, group would walk in to the room or wherever we were at. And they would look over at, like, a group of guys, or, like two, let's say there's 2 guys just standing wherever, or sitting, whatever. And they would look over at them, they're checking them out. And next thing you know, their eyes would go over to where the guys were looking. So men are very external beings. So a lot of times when you go to these lounges, in every room there'll be like a big, like 50-inch TV screen, or however big it was. And there'd be like a video playing of the ocean or whatever, okay? And there's music going, and because guys are kind of nervous, they don't know what to do. And also because guys are external, they eventually just start watching the TV because they're kind of like, well, I'm not talking to any girls and no one's talking to me. And I would notice the girls would look at the guys with interest and then boom, look at what the guys are looking at and then walk in that direction. And then I noticed it again and again and again. And then I noticed I was doing it and a girl was checking me out. And then she looked over at where I was looking. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Is there something to this? Absolutely. See, if you are external, looking outside of your body, see, your awareness is over there. So they're going, well, what are they looking at? What are they so interested? Oh, and they look over there and they forget about you. And they go in the direction of where you're looking. I'm really talking about what's called your internal awareness. If your internal awareness is going outside over there, that's where they're going to go. But if you drop your internal awareness inside you and expand it, people are going to be like, well, what are they looking at? Well, if you're looking inside you, they're going to look inside you, and they're going to be focused on you. This look within thing that Jesus was teaching is starting to make a lot more sense now, isn't it? Here's the funny diabolical thing. So you got men that are external looking at a woman's body. So she looks at him, and then and she's like, what's he looking at? And that brings her awareness back to herself. Energy flows where attention goes. If your attention is inside you, that's where your energy goes. This is how you make yourself emotionally solid and grounded. Now, by doing this correctly, that lower artery that I call the eye of the needle, it opens up and expands and allows blood to flow up into the larger human brain, thus opening the door to the right brain, the emotional, creative, spiritual brain, the open brain to God, to spirit, to soul, etc. And when this artery opens up, you relax. So being in the right brain suddenly disappears all the anxiety. The reason why men have a lot of anxiety at clubs and trying to meet women is because meeting people is a right brain function, but the modern male does it from the left brain. They're trying to be logical, Like, well, why aren't people talking to me? Why aren't people opening up? Because you're in your left brain. It's awkward. And that's the thing. You feel awkward. Because remember, the left brain is the closed brain, like you got the doors closed. And that's why people aren't talking to you. The right brain is the social brain. You're supposed to be in your right brain. So here's what happens. When you open up to your right brain, all of a sudden you gain rapport with people. All of a sudden people feel relaxed around you. And it's because it makes you feel relaxed. So now you're operating from the right brain. You're speaking the internal language. You're speaking the social language in the social way, processing using the social brain. And all of a sudden, everyone opens up to you and everyone's relaxed and you start laughing and having a good time. My point, people absolutely reflect back to you what you are. If you're closed, guess what's going to happen? Energetically, they're eventually going to close up. You're like, why is everyone closed off to me? Because you're closed. It affects their energy. If you love you, guess what? Other people are going to love you. Now, those other people are people who also have a sense of self-love as well. So if you go around meeting a bunch of self-haters and narcissists who literally can't love themselves, even if they wanted to, they can't love you. And that's the secret, is like, okay, if you don't have self-love, you can't love someone else. If you don't know how to make $1 million, you can't teach someone else how to make $1 million. Do you get it? If you don't have $1 million, you can't give someone $1 million. If you don't have love, you can't give love. That's it. See, a lot of men think, oh, I'm going to buy her things. I'm going to make her like me. That's not love. That's not good. That's not kind. All I'm saying is this. When I started to protect myself, all of a sudden people started treating me better. It was the most... It was like literally, I was like, okay, I'm going to cuss. I was like, fuck everyone. I am fucking done. Now here's the thing that I learned. Before, I was trying to make people like me. Nobody likes to be made to do anything. Slavery is over. People don't want to be pushed or pulled to be forced to like someone. They don't like that. It pisses them off. So what happened was, I essentially for about 2 years was like, yeah, I'm done with all these people. You know, I've been nice to them. I've been kind to them. Yeah, but for what purpose? Because you wanted them to get them to like you. It's like, no, that's not the way it works. Someone either likes you for you or they don't. And that's fine. All right. Have you ever had someone, or maybe you tried to tell a joke and you're like, it's funny, right? And you said the joke and you got that look and you even sound, it's funny, right? Like, and you're scrunching your eyes and your forehead and you're trying to, and you even lean forward like, it's funny, right? It's funny. And it's like, whoa, bro, get out of my space. Like you're trying to, like you're nodding, like and smiling with that fake forced smile, like smile, laugh. Laugh at my joke. You're trying to make them laugh at your joke. That's creepy. And a lot of empaths, we do a lot of things to try to make people love us and like us and be kind to us. Stop it, because it's only pushing people away. It's making them go, oh my God, you're trying to make me laugh at your joke? Now here's the thing. It might have been the funniest joke in the world, but because you said, hey, it's funny, right? Like you might as well just say, laugh at my joke, because that means I'm funny. And yet your buddy says the joke at a party next week and everyone just bursts out laughing. You're like, wait, why are they laughing? Like, I don't know, like what people just don't like. Like, what is it? Well, it's your delivery. It's the way you tried to make them laugh at it. You scrunched your eyes. You went eyeball to eyeball like a narcissist laser beaming. Here's what I learned. I used to make myself go to clubs for 2 years, minimum 5 days a week, if possible 7 days a week, and I had to be there for a minimum of 2 hours, even if I was exhausted, deliriously tired. So after I was done work and going to the gym or whatever I did, I would go to San Francisco, I'd go to the club, and I would just be there to try to figure this out. And I was like, and I bombed for the longest time. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So one night I hadn't slept. I was awake for 20 plus hours and I was delirious, and it was 8:30. I'm like, you gotta go. You said through thick or thin, hell or high water, no matter what, you have to go for 2 hours. So I'm like, fuck it. So I took a shower, I ate some food, got in my car, drove into the city, and about 10:30, maybe quarter 11, I got there. And the bouncer's like, hey, what's up, Mike? Oh, hey, what's up? You know, talk to him, a couple other people. And they're like, man, you all right? I'm like, oh, I'm just really tired, dude. I'm like, well, just go home. I'm like, no, man, I told you, I got to do this. I'm like, all right, because I had told them, like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm trying to figure this out, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I literally went to a wall inside the club, and I just leaned up against the wall. I was standing up, leaning back against it, and I just stood there. I didn't try to talk to no one. I didn't try to wink. I didn't try to smile. I didn't even try to make eye contact. I was like, I'm going to be here for 2 hours. When I'm done, I'm going home. So a girl walked up to me, started talking to me, and I'm just like looking at her. Now here's the really interesting thing. When you're deliriously tired, you are too tired to think. You are on reserves, and you're just barely. So you're not. Did I say it right? Does she like what I said? Does she want to hear? What does she want me to say? Like, all of that bullshit goes out the window. Like, you're just blank. It turns out blank is a really, really good place to be. So she's kind of talking and might ask me a question once in a while. I'd respond. And the thing is, I didn't talk hardly at all. I just was listening to her because that's all the energy I had. And she really liked that, number one. Number two, my responses were pure because I was so tired. I didn't have enough energy to care whether she liked me or liked what I said or not. And I didn't care. I'm like, hey, I've got another hour and 15 minutes to go. It's, you know, when the time's up, I'm going home. I don't care. So I'm just answering, responding with bare minimum because, you know, I wasn't like, normally I think real quick, okay, what's the right thing to say? And I was tired. And I was just spitting out pure, honest answers. This first thing that came up, I just spit it out without thinking, is that a good thing to say? Like, there was no thinking. I was just talking. So after about 15, 20 minutes or so, she just says, wow, I really like talking to you. And I remember like, really? Oh, okay. Because I'm like, I was barely talking. I wasn't putting any effort into it. I wasn't thinking. And she gave me her number, and I didn't even ask. I was like, okay, that's it. She was here. I want you to call me. I want to talk to you again. Oh, okay, whatever. And, you know, whatever. And I'm up against the wall, and about 5 minutes later, another girl walks up, and it was the same thing. And she ends up giving me her number. Oh, this is really weird. Like, what is this? So I was going through a pattern where I couldn't sleep at night, and I was deliriously tired. So the next night I came back, and I was even more tired. Same thing. And I'm just like, okay, what is this? I remember thinking, like, I wasn't even trying. How many times do girls say to guys, especially in high school, stop trying so hard? So then about a week or a month later, I was at the same club, and I was talking to the bouncer. Hey, what's up? You know, it was a good night. I was fully rested. I was feeling really good. And I saw this really beautiful girl, you know, 26 or something like that. I think I was about 34 or something like that. Maybe 33. And I walked up to her, started talking to her, blah, 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 blah. And the conversation went really well. And she was smiling, and she was happy. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get her number for sure. And here's the thing. I was like, I feel like, how to explain this? Like I was at work, like I was saying the right thing, saying what I was supposed to say. I felt like I was working, like I was on a job. And I looked at her, I'm like, man, this is a really pretty girl, but I'm just like, emotionally, I mean, I liked her. I thought she was cool, but I just wasn't feeling any kind of like, I think I could fall in love with this woman. And I said, I am so sorry, but I've got to say something. She goes, what? I go, please. I go, you are the most beautiful girl in the club tonight. I go, every guy in here would die to be with you. She's like, yeah. I'm like, I can't explain it, but I'm not feeling anything inside. And I feel like I would be wasting your time if we just exchanged numbers and continued on, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, thank you for saying that, because I've had guys do that, and they like me because I'm pretty, but they don't really feel anything. And they wasted so much of my time. She goes, you know what? Take my number anyways. If you want to go out and just be friends, I would really enjoy that. So she ended up giving me her number and, et cetera, et cetera. And she gave me a hug, a kiss on the cheek, and she was really happy. And like there was a really good vibe there. I saw her again later on the next week or whatever, and it was like she gave me a hug, and it was just really cool. Now here's the interesting thing. She walks away. 4 seconds later, boom, somebody bumps into me kind of hard, and I realize she did it on purpose. And she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I go, oh, yeah, you just accidentally on purpose bumped into me. And she starts laughing. No, I didn't. I go, yeah, you did. I go, you wanted to meet me. And she's like, okay, fine. And she's giggling and laughing. And we just started talking. There was no thinking going on, just blah, 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 blah. Because it wasn't like, oh, she's so hot, I like her, and I went after her. Now, she was adorable. She was beautiful, cute little blonde, blue, all that. Just adorable, sweet, great personality. And we are just really hitting it off. Like, man, 30 minutes went by, and it seems like 30 seconds. And I go, oh, I get it now. I wasn't trying. I wasn't trying with her. I wasn't trying... with the girl before. I wasn't trying the week before when I was really tired. I gave up trying to make girls like me. I gave up trying to make people laugh at my jokes. Here's the really weird and interesting thing that happens. When you stop trying to make people laugh at your jokes, when you stop trying to make people love you, when you stop trying to make people be with you, when you stop trying to make people like you, they like you. They love you. They want to be with you. Here's what I realized. Why was it that when my buddy said the same joke that I did a week later, everyone laughed? I remember he was just kind of relaxed and loose, and it was like this sense of, it was okay if you didn't think I was funny. It was okay if you didn't think my joke was funny. It's totally okay for you to laugh at my joke, and it's totally okay for you not to laugh at my joke. See, when you're interacting with someone, talking to them, telling a joke or anything, if you have this sense of freedom and you give them their freedom, they're free to talk to you, they're free to walk away. When people can feel that, they're free to laugh at your jokes and they're free not to laugh at your jokes. When they realize like, oh, he's not going to get mad if I walk away. He's not going to get mad if I don't like him. He's not going to get mad if I don't laugh at his jokes. He's okay with it. That's when people want to interact with you. That's when, see, this is why people say to me, like, I don't know what it is. I just feel so comfortable with you. I can't explain it. It's because there's no pressure. You don't have to like me. You don't have to be with me. You don't have to talk to me. It's okay. When you give people this freedom, you would be surprised how a lot more people will want to talk to you. How a lot more people will want to interact with you. How a lot more people will laugh at your jokes, even if it's a stupid joke. Now, there's a technique that I teach in my internal awareness class, and what it does, it causes you to, now listen closely, it brings your awareness inside you, and then you expand your awareness to the bubble around you. Everyone has a bubble about 11 to 15 inches in front, behind, left, right, and above you. So when your awareness comes back to you, you're allowing people to be in their own space. And that's what makes people feel comfortable. But most people will lock on eyeball to eyeball, forehead to forehead. It feels like a goddamn freaking bondage, like a rope, like a chain. Like you're controlling them, like you're jerking them around. Like a narcissist. Remember what it felt like being around that narcissist? Like your forehead was tight and you felt your heart was tight, like they had bondage there, like a connection, they're controlling. Don't do that. Allow people to be in their own space by bringing awareness into your body and around your body. See, people like this. And people don't like this. They don't like that control. If you learn how to bring your awareness inside and expand it, people are going to want to be around you. But if you try to control them like this, they're going to be like, man, I got to get out of here. People don't like this. people like this. Wait, what was that? Yeah, you get people to like you through God? Your prayers are answered through Christ? This is how you do it. Here's the funny thing for men, this whole internal awareness thing is such a foreign concept to them. They're like, this isn't going to work. This is weird. This is strange. And then we go out in public and all of a sudden they're like, why is everyone talking to you? I'm like, I don't know. So the way you get someone to like you, to love you, to be generous to you is by you liking you, is by you loving you, is by you being generous and kind to yourself. Do you want to know how you get people to listen to you? By you listening to you. You need to start spending time listening to your body, listening to your thoughts. Like, you need to silence your mind by meditating and doing deep breathing exercises and noticing what your body notices. This is something you should put aside daily. Just lay in bed, curl up, and just notice your body. Maybe you'll notice your solar plexus is tight. Now, don't go, oh, I got to change that. No, just notice it. Just notice whatever you notice. You don't have to change or fix or judge anything. Just notice it. There's no good or bad. Just like when that little infant inside you is sad or feeling bad, you don't need to make it feel better. In fact, I don't want you to make it feel better. The way you make it feel better is by allowing it and fully accepting it for wherever and whatever it is in the moment. In other words, it just wants you to be there for it, like a little child when a child is crying. It just wants you to hold it in an open way. It wants you to be there for it and just be there and allow it to feel and experience what it's feeling. See, when you try to change that, you're telling it, I don't accept you for who you are fully and completely. I don't like this about you, and I don't like this part about you, and I don't like that. So I don't want you to feel that way anymore. And now you're just rejecting them again and again and again. Sometimes the child just wants to crawl into your arms and just cry. Just support it. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. Just be there and be present with it. Now there's something else that I'm going to throw in here. I don't know if I'm going to really break it down, but one of the things that I'll do with my parts is I will hold space. And a lot of people, oh yeah, I know how to hold space, and they don't. Some people think holding space is like holding it. No, holding space, it's funny because the words that are used are literally the opposite of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to let go of this space. You're not supposed to hold it. You allow your awareness to expand and just be in the present space. It's like a helium balloon. You just let go of the string and all by itself. See, if you try to push or pull it, now you're controlling it. That is not the way to do it. You just let it go. You let go of the string and it floats up by itself. So in the sense of your energy, like in this image, it will expand out even further than this. Like it'll expand out to the whole room. But if you hold it there and put your awareness locked down, you just went into your left brain. Nurturing healing energy is a right brain expansive process. Here's the funny thing. When you learn how to do it for yourself, now you can do it with others. So I'm realizing this video has gone very, very long, longer than any video I think I've ever made. So I'm trying to teach you something that is not going to be taught in a 1 hour or even a 2 hour, even a 10-hour video. It's something you got to learn. It's something I got to be in the present moment with you. I need to shift my energy so your energy can feel that shift. There's a lot. There's a bit to it. It's really not that complicated, but trying to verbalize it is not the way you physically do it. So for now, spend time curling up in bed, dropping your awareness down inside, and just it's like let it expand your whole body. And just you can imagine a ball getting larger and larger and larger, and then you just let it go. Completely let it go and allow it to do what it does. And then in an open, expansive way, notice it. In other words, don't lock on, don't narrow down. Just in an open, here's in an expansive way. Notice whatever you notice. And that's it. Like, that literally is it. Just notice what you notice. This is how you become your own best friend, and that is what it's all about. When you become your own best friend, this being inside you starts to connect with you. It starts to communicate. It starts expressing itself through emotions and feelings. And here's the deal. It starts to warn you of things. See, you become your own best friend. It's like it starts to get your back. When it realizes you have its back and you're looking out for it and you're walking away and you're protecting it emotionally, now it starts to give you the edge. Now it starts giving you the power. This is how you open the doorway to power, to consciousness. See, like, the more you tune into it and the more you begin to notice it, see, that's all you need to do is notice it. Do not try to change it, tell it what to think, what to feel. No, your job is to notice it, and you're going to realize, wait a minute, this thing's been communicating to me my whole life. I just wasn't tuned into it. That's why I never heard it. This is your higher intelligence. This is God speaking through you. All you have to do is notice it. It's always been through you, inside you, not external. That's backwards. You get people to come to you by you coming to you. You get people to love you by you loving you. If you're trying to make them love you, they're gonna run away, okay? So love yourself and protect yourself. And be good to yourself, because then other people will. And for those who don't, you walk away. Hey, God bless you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, please click the subscribe button, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. And if you want, as always, there's a PayPal donation link right there in the description box. So if you want to go ahead and make a donation, that's where you do it. Alright, God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.